there.
Okay, we are live.
Great. Guys, turn lights on.
In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and mailing to the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually indicating that this meeting would take place on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, at 7:30 PM in Milburn Town Hall. First order of business, we will do our oaths for David, Frank, Srini, Allison,
and David.
and Dave, and Michael. Yeah.
Okay. So if you would all stand and raise your right hands. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties of the office of Planning Board member according to the best of my ability.
all the duties of the office of planning board member according to the best of my ability.
And if you'd like to say so help me God, you can.
Oh, you know.
So if you could just then sign them and we'll get them to you.
For notarization. Yep, great. Thank you all.
Okay. I'll take the roll. Corey Diller,
Here.
Allison Canfield,
Here.
Michael Cohen,
Here.
Gaston Halbert,
Yep.
Frank Saccomandi,
Here.
Srini Vijay,
Yep.
David Cosgrove,
Here.
Michael Zion,
Here.
Beth Zoll.
Do we put the date in or you put the date in? Put the date in. Good too, you know. 23 instead of 24. No. The notary, the person notarizing is supposed to put the date. Because this is before me.
I can do this after the meeting if you all,
Okay,
whatever you guys want to do.
yeah.
You can
that's-
pass the resolution for
Okay.
the notice. I reviewed it. It's satisfactory.
Okay, I think first we will take nominations for the position of chair for the year 2024. Would anyone like to make a nomination?
Nominate that's all.
Is there a second?
Second.
Would you accept, Beth?
Yes.
Okay, is there any other nominations? Seeing none. Okay, so the motion was made by Corey, second was by Gaston. Corey Viller,
Yes.
Allison Canfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Deborah Nevis, oh, not here, sorry. Frank Saccomandi,
Steve.
Srini Vijay,
Yes.
David Cosgrove,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Gaston Halbert.
Yes.
All right. So yours.
Thanks. Then. Thank you. Thank you for the gavel. Welcome to the 2024 year. Welcome to the returning members and new members. Member, excited to have you. We are now taking nominations for vice chair. I'd like to make a nomination for Gaston Halbert. Do you have a second?
Second.
You accept?
Yes, I accept.
And do you want to ask for any other nominations?
Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
Corey Viller,
Yes.
Allison Canfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Frank Saccomandi,
Yes.
Srini Vijay,
Yes.
David Cosgrove,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Beth Sol.
Yes. The next position is the appointment of the planning board attorney. Per the 2023 subcommittee to the planning board, application, an RFP process was undertaken, applications were received, reviewed, and where appropriate, interviews were conducted. Ultimately, firm that the planning board subcommittee 2023 recommended, it's called Savo Shock. We have a representation from Matthew Flynn in present tonight. The intention is for his colleague, Stephen Warner, to serve as the planning board attorney, but he had a conflict this evening. So he's represented by his colleague Matthew Flynn tonight. I move to appoint Savo Shock as our board attorney. Do we have a second?
Second.
Corey Biller,
Yes.
Allison Canfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Frank Saccomondi,
Yes.
Srini Vijay,
Yes.
David Cosgrove,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Gaston Halbert,
Yes.
Beth Sol.
Yes.
Thank you all. We look forward to working with the town.
And our final position is appointment of planning board secretary. I gratefully and excitedly nominate Eileen Babbitt. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do. Corey Biller,
Yes.
Allison Canfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Frank Saccomondi,
Yes.
Srini Vijay,
Yes.
David Cosgrove,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Gaston Halbert,
Yes.
Beth Sol.
Yes. Welcome back, thank you. Next order of business is the resolution of approval of 2024-2025 annual notice. Behind your agenda, you should have received the listing of the meeting dates annually through 2024, as well as the intended reorganization, which is January 8th of 2025. Does anybody have comments or conflicts? I believe, Eileen, if you could just confirm, you typically try to avoid
Jewish
Federal holidays.
Yeah, if
Jewish
we're
holiday
closed, we don't do
celebrations.
it. Rosh Hashanah is the first Wednesday of October, which is why I eliminated that. We typically only meet once in July and August. And then November, we have the league, which always coincides with the second.
Okay. Great, and always as necessary, we would schedule special meetings if, for instance, we're hearing an application and it requires an additional meeting time, which we have done multiple times in the past few years. Comments or corrections?
Just on February 21st, that is during the week of one of the school breaks.
It is.
So I don't know how many people have kids, or if they're going away, we might not have a quorum. And then November 6th as well. It's not on the conference date, but the day before.
The teacher break.
Right.
I think that has been the case in the past before. But, yeah. Thanks for highlighting those potential conflicts. Do we do a roll call vote or this, or a voice vote on approval?
I really don't recall.
It's a resolution, so you
We should do a roll call, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the 2024
Thanks. Do we have a second? I will second.
Corey Biller,
Yes.
Allison Canfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Frank Saccomondi,
Yes.
Srini Vijay,
Yes.
David Cosgrove,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Gaston Halbert,
Yes.
Beth Sol.
Yes. Okay, there are no applications scheduled for this evening. But Eileen, I just wanted to confirm, have we appointed a planning board planner, or is that intended for the next meeting?
Well,
Is it an RFP process?
we
or-
don't typically, we didn't appoint one last year because the township does one, but I didn't know if you wanted to. I did have a roll call vote of sheet for it, but I noticed that they didn't put it on the agenda. I know we didn't do it last year because the township, and we were using topology, which is what the township
Right,
chose.
I think because we did do an RFP process,
We should.
I think we should.
Okay, I do have the
Yeah.
voting sheet for that if you want
Great.
to do it. Okay.
Thank you.
Can we do it if it wasn't on the agenda?
And
Yes.
it was what's on the agenda, thank you.
The agenda ahead of time is only to the extent known. So as long as it came up spontaneously during the meeting, you all can vote on it.
Fantastic. Again, per the subcommittee of 2023, a recommendation was made to retain Topology, who had previously served as our planning board planner. So I move to appoint Topology as planning board planner for 2024.
I second it.
Corey Biller,
Yes.
Allison Campfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Frank Sakamundi,
Yes.
Srini Vijay,
Yes.
David Cosgrove,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Gaston Halbert,
Yes.
Beth Stoll.
Yes. Great, thank you for that. And to that point, as announced in our our latter December 20th meeting, we will be anticipating a presentation on the open space element of the master plan at our January 20th meeting, and confirmed by Alex as of this afternoon. It was posted on the website, but it was posted somewhere not as
I
clear.
posted it on the
So it's
planning
been
board page
reposted
around
in a-
4:15 this afternoon,
more
along
clear
with the
location.
draft survey, the survey of, there was a survey done of, so I posted the draft as well as the survey, they did a survey of, I guess, various stakeholders, so that's up there as well.
Okay.
Does
About
anything go,
4:15.
does anything go out to people so that they know that it's there?
Yeah.
No.
Is there a way to get someone to
17.
do
I think
that?
she did say 20.
I don't know if there's a way.
You said the 20th.
Okay, apologies for the cross, let you finish that conversation.
I don't know, I would have to check with the business administrator, honestly, I don't know, I'm sure there's a way that they could put it on the webpage, on the main page, so that they are aware of it. But certainly we could put something on the planning board page indicating that we're gonna speak about it
Right.
on the date we are.
And that would be just a workshop on the 17th and not
Correct.
the public
And then we
hearing.
would notice, and we would do
Okay.
the whole public, yes.
Thank you. They were just mentioning, I had said, I misstated as to January 20th. It was the December 20th meeting, January 17th is our next meeting. Thank you for clarifying.
Eileen, just a question. What documents then were posted?
The open space, the draft, which you all received, I
That we got
believe,
last meeting.
right,
Perfect.
and yeah, that's posted as well as the survey that was done.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. That being said, our next meeting is scheduled January 17th, 7:30 PM here. I move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Sure, second. Oh, yes, actually, I did want to bring something up first. I don't know if this requires a motion, but the township committee, as you know, the meetings are done via Zoom and simultaneously via YouTube. That allows people to interactively participate. The meetings that we're going to have an option for public comment, I think it would be good for us to have a Zoom option so that residents that can't physically make it to the meeting can participate as well. I know during COVID, all of the meetings were by Zoom. We obviously already have the technology here in this room. So I don't know if that's something we need to make a motion to put on the agenda next time to vote on, or if that's something we could potentially vote on tonight.
Yeah, they would have to get, I don't know how, because I don't know how we would do Zoom and live. I'm not set up to do that, so someone would have to come and do it.
I think it's a good idea, though.
I think the issue became having it Zoom and having to actually, if people were going to give testimony, but that was more for applications. But if this is for public comment, I'll check with the IT and see exactly what would be involved.
If that's something the board is interested in, and there are other towns that I represent that do a similar function where they have hybrid meetings and they take comment over Zoom, we would just need to know ahead of time, because if we were going to permit members of the public to ask questions, both the applicant's notice for any hearing would have to reflect that it's a hybrid meeting and provide the Zoom link in their notice that goes out. And also our annual notice would have to be revised to reflect that, because right now our annual notice says in person in this room. So as long as the board is interested in that and wants to entertain that option, just make sure that, our office coordinates with the planning board secretary to make sure the noticing is done properly. But again, it's done in other towns. It's definitely, if it's something you can technologically do legally, you're allowed to do it.
And just to clarify, the township, and I think this would be different, the township committee, a township committee member is allowed to call in via Zoom if they're unable to make the meeting, but we don't have alternates there, whereas we do here. So I would say that should not be the case, that, you know, if you can't make it in person as a committee member, then the alternate will take your place.
Sure.
I think that makes sense.
You have to talk live.
Could I also add, there was a lingering, not sure if you could get this information to the public prior to the meeting. I'd like to try to figure out who takes that on and gets back to the public. Because what we just mentioned was, or David, when does the public get this information and when is it posted on the website? I think it's really important as we move forward, full disclosure here, I think timing is huge. But when we mention this and you don't have the answer, how do we get the answer to the public prior to our meeting, our next meeting? And maybe our council can guide us on how other towns might handle that. But there's like no follow through, and then the public feels like they've been left out of it, or they didn't know. They just said we were gonna look into it, but then nothing happens at that point. So I'd like to see something a little further, because I know I get calls too. Did this ever go out, or did you see anything on that? And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to hand it to the public. So if we could work on maybe somebody being that liaison, I guess, to follow through with that question, and then being able then to somehow get it out to the public.
Yeah, no, I'd take that even a little further. I touched base with Eileen before the meeting started, just about when we get correspondence from applicants. And then we don't get it until, and I'm not
Right, I understand.
complaining.
No, I understand.
The way it's done right now, we don't get it until the application is actually put on the agenda. Yeah, a perfect example is Silverman has an application that's coming up, right? That letter came from Silverman's attorney back in October. It was addressed to Beth, and it was addressed to each one of us collectively, and we never got it. And for those of us, I'm not just saying people aren't doing this. I like to read this stuff, and I like to prepare for this. So you get an application like Silverman that sits out there, right? There's a letter in October, there's a letter in November. We don't know anything about it. I got copies of it. I asked for it. I haven't. I don't know if you guys have even seen it. But that application is going to be maybe on for the next January meeting, potentially. And I would just love to get this stuff early, as soon as we have it. I'd love to get it posted so people can do that. I can tell you, because I've been involved in, in meetings before you folks, before I was a board member. If you give people notice of this the week before the January 17th, the people that want to oppose it or want to talk about or present witnesses, it's not effective. They don't have time to do it. So following on that, I'd love to see, as soon as an application comes in, even if it hasn't been approved, I'd like to see that application posted so people know it's out there. And it could be posted on our website.
Right.
And then people will learn that it may not be approved yet. The
It becomes a
checklist may
little
not be done, but
problematic,
at least
yeah.
they know that, hey, listen,
There's-
if I'm interested, this is next to my house, I want to get moving on this, for the residents.
Okay.
So, and I haven't, as long as we're talking about various loose ends, when I took the, as all of us have, when I took the course for new planning board officials, they were talking during that presentation about having applicants submit things electronically, including the plans and 3D models, that you can see on the computer. So I'd like us to, if we can do that tonight, just say, we're going to do whatever we need to do legally to make that work. I think that might save you some time too, because
We
if
do,
it all
yeah,
comes
we
in
do.
electronically, it's
Everything is
easy for you to pop it out and to post it, very quickly. But all in the idea, just let's get this to be really transparent. No resident thinks they got shortchanged on the time. We get it early, so if you want to read it and you're interested, you get to read it early.
You can already, I was thinking about this after we spoke about even the open space stuff, you can sign up on the website, and so when when the agenda comes out, that
Yeah.
that goes out to
to
everybody.
everybody.
That same distribution of people should be notified that the open space stuff is out there.
Okay.
And then, of course, what David is saying as well, similarly, that kind of thing, because those are people who took the trouble to sign up, means they're interested in stuff relating to the planning board.
And I know the question of receiving materials electronically has come up before, probably by you, but I think others as well. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think I would like us to get there this year, and whether it's complementing by paper and electronic, some people do just like to open up a plan or mark it up or whatnot. But there is also, I think, benefit to being able to Zoom with you or have it electronically for us as well as for the public. So I agree. And
I'd love the option, give us an option, because like, I'd rather save paper and somebody driving around, dropping it off at my house and stuff, and just have it on my iPad that I bring. So I don't know if we have the option, instead of printing them all and getting it electronically, just give us the option, well, sort of like electronic billing. Do you prefer paper or electronic billing?
Would you
it raises
prefer-
the question of if you can bring your iPad and have that, I don't know.
That's a good question.
Even for the plans, because the plans are hard to see on the iPad.
Right.
So that's the only thing.
But also I'm saying having an electronic device, that is connected to the internet in front of us at a meeting, I'm not sure if that is.
Well, unless you have a requirement that it's not connected to the, like mine's just Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi.
Nor do I.
So
Is that permitted?
You can do it. I mean, the only thing is that, right, if an applicant were to come in or an objector and they were to feel aggrieved and they noticed that maybe one board member, it looked like maybe they were researching on the side. There's always a level of risk to everything we do, to the point where if we have our cell phones in front of us at the meeting, right? But no, there's nothing that would prohibit a board member from having a plan set on their computer or their iPad as opposed to in paper. In fact, boards who still meet over Zoom, even post-pandemic, obviously everything's electronic. I have a couple boards like that we haven't seen in-person plans in 3-4 years, so.
Is there anything we need to do then to implement at least the electronic filing or
Well,
do we
does this
need
board
a
have bylaws?
resolution? Do we need, what do we need?
We don't have bylaws? Yeah, so I guess we could draw up a resolution for the next meeting that the board could vote on, just basically an instruction to applicants. That's one way to do it. If you'd like to do that, I mean, obviously my advice would always be anything in writing is better so that the applicants and everybody's on notice of it. Rather than just do an oral vote tonight and say, it's now the policy of this board that we want plans electronically. A formal resolution that puts the applicants on notice.
I do get all of the applications electronically. I require them to give it to me so that I can put them on the website.
Do we have any bylaws, even if they're old?
I found, I have like a 2-page, it says bylaws, but they certainly don't sound like bylaws.
And I guess my follow-up question was, do we know if the checklist for the subdivisions and site plans requires electronic submission? Because that's another thing that the governing body could recommend, fixing their checklist ordinance to require that in
The
the
checklist
ordinance.
does say digital
Okay.
plans submitted, and I know Graham was also working on a unilateral application, would be the same for planning board and zoning board.
Right.
So that's kind of in the work as well.
And this might be a dumb question, but the more complicated the application, do you still get a hard copy? You still get a
I have to
paper
get a hard
Okay.
copy, yes.
So is that something that we can come and request if need be, a hard copy of
They
that?
submit the original and usually 15 or 18 copies of their application and plans.
Because to your point, where if you mark if you want electronic or not, I think the more complicated the application, it's a little more difficult to.
You just could stand up.
We wait, there we go.
Wait.
A little more complicated and to have a set of plans. So there might be one application where I'd want a set of plans, one I don't need one.
Yeah.
So to always have a hard copy, we could come to you and say, could we get a copy or can we copy
I would
these?
probably still make them submit hard copies.
Okay,
DRC requires, I need 5 copies of that anyway. So I probably would continue to request the copies.
So we currently receive everything electronically from all applicants.
Yes.
Okay, so then the option to switch from receiving hard copy to electronic could just be our
Just like-
preference
Yes,
sent to
you could just tell
via
me
email.
and I could do that.
Okay,
I think what my clerk's been doing is letting you know that the packages have been picked up. We haven't really had a lot lately, so, but she'll tell you what's in the package or, send them electronically. If anybody would like a hard copy, I think I did that with the open house. Here's the electronic copy. If anybody wants a hard copy, let me know they're available. So we certainly can do that.
great.
And then just to be clear, we'll be able to load the electronic copy onto our devices and use that to refer to during the meeting. Is that correct?
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Or you could log on to the township website and just pull them up there.
That's true, which we
they're
could
on the
do
website,
now
yeah.
today too. To the point of I guess we wouldn't need a resolution to require it because we already receive it.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Then I think we use, I guess each as individuals, I guess can we request that that always be sent to us electronically?
Yeah,
To
we can
support
do
in the
that.
distribution?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. Other questions or thoughts?
I wanted to sort of go into a little discussion on the 3D models. Do you want that for all applications or just the complicated ones?
I think that the complicated ones, but I don't know. The way it was presented during that seminar was it's everyone's doing it type thing, all right? Which is not my argument all the time, just because, Westfield's doing it doesn't mean I think we need to do it. But it's, I've heard people here even ask questions about, I can't quite understand, what that looks like from this position, that type of stuff, and it would arguably fix anything.
The problem is it's.
But
But
I'm open to suggestions on that,
Could they do,
My understanding,
how about a 3D electronic?
that's what they were
Yeah,
talking
not a
about.
physical, yeah.
And my understanding is that this is being done,
Yeah.
and doesn't cost, so it doesn't sound to me like it's gonna impose any, cost on a developer to do this. It sounds like it's happening anyway.
Right, agreed, yeah, for the larger ones, the more complicated ones, like
Yeah.
when it gets down to the residential, though, if somebody comes and they want to go like a
I
foot
don't
over
disagree with you on
setback,
that. I don't
then
disagree with
it's
that.
extra
Yeah.
money for them to get the 3D model when it's not necessary. So that would be my only issue with it.
My question, can we separate it residential versus commercial? Because I think every commercial property, you know what I mean? It'd be nice for us to have a 3D rendering of that.
Yeah, but I think some of these questions might come up for multifamily residentials as well.
Well,
which is not
again,
commercial.
right, okay.
Maybe
I
required
mean,
for everything
site
other
plans.
than single family.
Single
houses.
family.
Right, and you're not really getting single family houses. You're gonna get the site plans, so we requested for
Right,
site
we have some
plans.
single family and some.
Site plans and
single-family
subdivisions.
homes.
But they're not typically.
So maybe multifamily, or how do we define?
I guess anything that comes forward with site plan or subdivision. There is one coming forward with a multifamily.
It's major.
It's major site plan.
Which
So we
one's
just
that?
kept it,
You don't get to know yet.
it's on Main Street.
Okay.
It was just filed. I don't even know the number, to tell you the truth. It was, just came in. But I guess if we said for
Well, I
site
think
plans
if
and sub, well,
if-
site
did it
plans
come
and
in and
subdivision.
was it received as completed? Like, I don't
No,
think we
no,
can
no,
go,
it just
okay,
came in.
so
We
I don't
haven't
think we
looked
can
at
go
it
back to an applicant now and say, well, we just had a meeting and now we require this if they haven't done it. I think it's important to
But that's an
establish it.
example. We could get, if there's plans that came in for 75 Main Street, they should be posted so people can see it. As opposed to, Beth, your comment about, going back to them and saying, now do something different. I agree with that. But-
Right.
Just to.
But if that's there, I think that we should, under our new protocol we're putting together here, that should get posted.
Well, we'll have to decide, because I know like it has to come in and we can't even complete until the DRC has had their meeting and ruled on it.
Okay.
So I think we had discussed previously, do we want to prematurely put something as soon as we receive it, when in fact it might not be the application that eventually, there most likely are changes that will have to be made.
Right,
So-
DRC, just to clarify,
Is
it is
Development.
Development Review Committee, so the application comes in, it's reviewed initially
them.
by,
With them and the applicant, and any changes that need to be made are made at that time.
right,
and then it goes for completeness review.
Yeah, see, my push on that was people should know about that right away, even if there's gonna be changes. And they can be told there might be changes to this before the DRC. That gives a resident or person who's interested in it, the same amount of time, still less, but the same amount of time as the developer has.
Sure.
To develop their arguments on why it should be approved.
So maybe a special section on the website that says these are
Pending,
pending,
yeah.
not final,
Yeah.
subject to change,
Can be
just to
done.
make it explicitly clear, but I do think it's a great
Keep it
idea
separate.
for increased transparency.
Pending applications, yeah.
And I don't know if this has to do with our board, but certainly the public needs to know what the DRC and what their responsibilities are since it's new to us here in just recent.
Right, newer, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, some kind of definition of what that particular group does with an application prior, because again, they're really going through the checklist. And so the public needs to know that prior to it coming to us. So it might be, is that something we need to get with Graham on, or how would we get that out to the public?
I think the DRC, what they do is on the main page of the township committee. I don't think it's on the planning board page, I think it's on, but I know there is something that explains what the DRC is and what they do and who's on it.
I agree, because there was a time in which I know there was intended to be a planning board designee, but there, I believe, is not currently.
There is not. I don't think there is going to be.
And okay,
because
that was the
They
decision of
don't,
the
yeah,
TC.
they didn't want them discussing the application outside of the meeting. It's really just, because they don't really say, well, we think that, they just kind of look at what you've submitted, what they think you should submit more, but they don't make any kind of opinions on the application itself, which is why I think they've opted not to include any planning board people on it. Because it kind of muddies the waters a little bit.
I have a question then. So there's the design review committee, and then we've also been talking about the committee that did stuff like change the ordinances for like setbacks and whatnot. Is that, that's a different committee?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
Because
we meet on
there's no
Fridays.
planning board member on that one either.
It was, last year it was Mayor Miggins
Oh,
and
and
Sanjeev.
Okay, so they weren't, they were doing.
They were on it as township committee, correct. So I'm
Okay, but those
assuming
are
that
two
there will be
separate
two more
committees.
people,
Mhm.
I'm assuming there will be two more people put on when we start in January.
So that one, just so everybody knows, that one, we're also looking at, we'll announce this, we've talked about it informally, and it's looking to open that up to two members of the public for that
Okay.
one. Because that came up as part of the historic preservation ordinance, which is one of the things that that committee will be looking at. So I just wanted to make, those committees sounded very similar in name, I just wanted to make sure, I thought they
Zoning
were
is
different,
looking
I
more
wanted
at
to
the
confirm that.
ordinances and changing ordinances,
Right, okay.
and Graham spearheads that. Okay.
I'd just like us to remember, and I've learned from experience, is that we can't assume that the public understands where the DRC, what they do and where they come in, the zoning task force and how they work and where they come in and what role they play. So even if we, I think, have to put it on the website, on the planning board website, on all, wherever these particular subcommittees fall, I think the more people or the public's able to read this, they're better to understand it.
That might actually be something, I think, Michael, at the last meeting, you mentioned, that might be something, when we don't have applications, that Graham might be able to come in and, explain
Right, provide.
the zoning review committee, the DRC, exactly what you just said.
I think that's
That
a
would be
good idea.
That might be a good idea.
I want to circle back to Allison's comment of saying, you talked about like who does the follow-up or who, I think it kind of depends on the content of the request, right? If it's, well, we asked the applicant to, before the next meeting to get us X, Y, Z, then we have sort of something very tangible. But if it's like, can somebody find out if, then it's a
Little
pop up and
yeah.
somebody needs to call it and own it. So maybe the challenge for us, all the sort of best practices to when there's these undefined, items, we just need to put a point person on it, whether that is you as the secretary or an attorney or the planner to commit to,
in advance of the next meeting, at least 48 hours before we can have this, in our hands or
Right.
whatever it is.
letting the public be
Yeah.
aware what
I
the
just, I think that was a good
decision
point you brought up, but I didn't think we had sort of.
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna circle back, but I was waiting.
No, I didn't think that was a
Yeah.
good one.
But I think that's important because not only do we have people in the audience, but also people listening to
Yeah.
this meeting. And sometimes we don't always answer the question. And I think that's where we get the most pushback of not being transparent.
Sure.
Great. Other items while we're having this discussion.
We do have applications, so you guys have a few
We
applications
have a few
coming already,
applications.
considering last year was kind of slow. We didn't have a lot of applications, but already we have Woodland on the next meeting, and then I have an application over on East Willow Street, and the one that just came in for the multifamily. So we do have,
Looks like it'll be a busy winter,
yeah,
spring.
you'll have a lot
So
to.
what's there now, at 75 Main?
No, not 75 Main.
You said the
It's-
multifamily on Main Street?
It's down, going more towards Springfield, way
Okay.
down. I think they just took a house down. It was an old house there. Which was
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, it was on no
Someone
list.
just had a heart attack.
I checked every list that I could possibly check. It was nowhere. So it was on any list. I was sure I checked it. Everybody checked it.
Okay.
We can laugh.
And how many units are they proposing?
Just four.
Oh, just four,
Yeah.
okay. So that technically doesn't, it is multifamily, but that doesn't meet the definition of a multifamily house, because that you need 5 for.
No, multifamily is 3 or more.
What's that?
Multifamily by our definition is 3 or more.
3 or more.
Do you
but-
It doesn't require affordable
Inclusionary
housing.
housing?
Well, for inclusionary housing, you need 5, and
Right,
for,
right.
even for certain financing, when they talk about multifamily residential, it's 5 or more. But it's only 4, so no inclusionary housing, then yeah.
Okay. It is 8:12. I move to adjourn. Should I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome
See
to
you on the
Dover.
17th.
For new council. Can you say your firm again, because we didn't really hear it?